What's happening guys, it's Abhinav from PhoneBunch and welcome to a full review of the Samsung Galaxy J3 2016 edition. Now this one comes with a quad-core Spreadtrum processor, a 5-inch HD Super AMOLED display, you have an 8MP rear, a 5MP front camera, 1.5 gigs of RAM and 8 gigs of expandable storage. Now this also features 4G LTE and NFC. But that's all about the specs, let's talk about the build now. On the left of the device you can see that you have the volume rocker, which is actually quite sturdy. Moreover, on the right you have the power button, which also feels pretty nice. It does give a good tactile response. At the top you can find the 3.5mm audio jack and you can see this sort of a metallic finish on the frame as well. It does feel quite good and it is very solid as well. At the bottom you'll find the primary microphone as well as the micro USB data syncing and charging port. And on the inside you have a 2600 mAh battery which is removable, and you have two separate SIM card slots and a separate micro SD card slot as well. Overall the build on the device is really solid. The back cover doesn't attract fingerprints, it does have a sort of a leather-like finish, and the camera hump is pretty minuscule. Now if you come to the front again, you will see that you have a 5MP camera up front, there is a proximity sensor, there is no ambient light sensor and no notification LED. And then you have the 5-inch HD AMOLED display, superb viewing angles, and just below that you have the capacitive buttons for back and recent apps which don't light up, and also the physical home button. Now talking about the display, you can actually change the color mode. You can set it to AMOLED display, you can set it to AMOLED cinema, photo or basic mode. I prefer the AMOLED display mode, the whites did have slightly colder tones there. And then you also have the outdoor mode which does make the sunlight legibility a bit better. Which now brings me to network and call quality. Now this is a space where Samsung smartphones generally don't struggle, and the Galaxy J3 doesn't disappoint either. It is loud, it is clear, and there are no issues with echo or call drops, at least on the phone's end. Now there are some features on the Galaxy J3 which is similar to the Samsung smartphones which we just take for granted, like a block list where you can block annoying callers with a phone number. You can choose to send a message automatically when you reject a phone call. You can answer calls using the home key and end calls using the power button. So yes, these are some features which I actually found quite useful on the phone, and possibly you would too. And then there's NFC as well. Now Samsung is mostly showing off the S-Bike mode with NFC, but when payments come to India, this mode will be very useful. And GPS also did work out fine for most part. It was a bit slow, it did miss out a few turns, but still it did work decently well. Which now brings me to the camera. You have an 8MP rear camera which does take images pretty fast. Now you can see that it does take a little bit of time to save images though. And you have Pro mode where you can control ISO, white balance and exposure, but it's pretty limited. And then there's the fact that you can only record 720p videos with the rear camera, and that's actually a limitation of the chipset. And if I come to the front facing camera now, it does a pretty decent job when there's good amount of light, but as soon as the light decreases, well, images, be it the rear camera or the front camera, do get a lot of noise in them. Now these are some of the shots that were taken in the evening. Colors actually look quite good on the rear camera. You can see that here too. But images do seem a bit softer than other 8MP cameras that I've seen in this price bracket. However, HDR mode actually works a bit better. It reduces noise, adds more detail, and images look far crispier as well. Now these are some of the night shots. Some indoor shots that were taken, and you can see slight hazy, the focusing is not that good here. So as soon as the light decreases, focusing becomes an issue here. And this you can see is a 720p video which has been upscaled to 1080p. Again, videos do look a bit soft as well. Overall, the rear camera does a pretty decent job with good lighting, but yes, the performance does decrease just like most of the smartphones in low light. Which now brings me to audio quality. Now this is the headset that you get within the box. We have checked these out several times. These do sound quite alright. A bit high on treble, but still they get the job done. They have a single button to end and receive calls. The mic does work pretty fine and there is no cable noise. Now audio quality through the headset jack is pretty good as well. It is quite loud, louder than the rear speaker. It just sounds a bit muffled even when you have the phone off a table or off a surface. There is an equalizer which you can use to change the sound profile, but it doesn't increase the volume. It's a bit on the tinier side. Then you have FM radio available as well, which does a pretty good job, and you also have FM recording in stereo quality available. Moreover, you can play 1080p videos on the Galaxy J3 even if you can't record them. Now let's get into a bit more detail about the S-Bike mode. Now you can trigger it with the NFC sticker which comes within the box, or you can use your notification shade. Now this phone gets into a motion lock when you have the S-Bike mode on when you are driving at a speed of more than about 10 km per hour. And at that time you won't be able to answer any calls, accept calls, or do anything on your smartphone. It's only when you come down to a halt you will get a chance to answer or interact with your phone or turn the S-Bike mode off. Now when you get a call, your callers will hear something like this.
The person you are trying to reach is riding a bike and cannot take your call. If you want the person to stop the bike and take your urgent call, then press 1.
And if you get an urgent call which is being marked by a caller by pressing 1, it will show up like this on your screen. And as I said, until you just come to a complete halt, stop, and only then you would be able to pick up this call. You won't see any information about the caller, nothing. So you have to come to a stop and only then the call goes through. So as I said, that is a security feature that is built into the S-Bike mode. Now what I would have liked is an option to customize the message that your callers hear and an option for them to record whatever they wanted to say. I think that would have made sense for far more people. At present, it seems like a novel idea, especially for, let's say, people who deliver couriers. For me, it really wasn't that useful of a feature. But yes, I did use NFC to pair with my headphones, my speakers. For that part, I was very happy. With that, let's come to some of the other things that the phone has to offer. Now, there is theme support baked into this launcher as well. You have Android 5.1.1 Lollipop running on the Samsung Galaxy J3. You have a customizable notification shade which you see right there as well. And yes, you have the option of switching to the S-Bike mode right there too. Now, if we talk about storage, now you just get 8 gigs of storage on the device, out of which you'll get about 4 odd gigs out of the box. Then you can expand that with the micro SD card. Now that is actually quite limited, but at least you can actually move apps to the SD card, even though app data, which means the larger OBB files or the game files that you download, those can't be moved to the external storage. But then again, you have USB OTG available as well, where you can easily transfer all your music and video files. Now the Galaxy J3 also comes with the easy mode, where the contrast becomes a bit better, you have larger font sizes, and you have just specific apps on the home screen. It actually makes it far easier for non-tech savvy people, let's say your mom and dad or even your grandparents, to use this phone. So it would be a good option if you are looking to buy a phone for them. But when we come to performance, this phone does struggle a bit with web browsing as well. You can see that it is slightly laggy. Now apps do open up relatively quickly, multitasking is also decent here. But the thing is, there is a bit of a noticeable lag in the interface, and that's due to the Spectrum processor with its Cortex A7 cores. It is quite a bit behind, and memory optimization, again with 1.5 gigs of RAM, is pretty decent. Every 4th or 5th app does get reloaded. Gaming performance was nothing to write home about either. Most games did lag a little bit. Modern Combat 5 did play a bit better than Asphalt 8. There was not much lag there. But this again, with just about 4.5 gigs of available storage, is not meant for heavy gaming. But the thing is, the Galaxy J3 is not meant for everyone. If you're a heavy user, you won't be looking at this device. But this phone does give good solid battery life. I was able to get through more than 1 day of use easily with this smartphone with about 4.5 hours of screen on time. With ultra power saving mode, it actually saved me quite a number of times. And that's really the gist of it. The Samsung Galaxy J3 2016 is not meant for everyone, but if you are looking for a smartphone that is reliable, has good battery life, a very vibrant display and decent set of cameras with solid build quality, this is definitely worth a look. And moreover, with NFC, this is ready for Samsung Pay when it becomes available in India. Well folks, that was a review of the Samsung Galaxy J3. Do tell us what you think about it. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.